Hello, welcome back to Rilo Quantitative Statistics. Today I'm going to go over an indicator that I created called the Volatility Momentum Index. It's a phenomenal indicator. I'm using it every single day of my trading. So you can see there's quite a bit to it in the bottom pane here. First off, I'm just going to show you a few PowerPoint slides just to kind of go over what all is here. This is what the indicator would look like when you attach it to your chart on your trading view. And I've overlaid EMAs onto here, so we have the 21, the 55, and the 200 EMAs, just for referencing to the trend while using your Momentum Volatility Index indicator. So first off, it's a sophisticated trading indicator designed to harness the power of various market metrics for identifying your optimal trading opportunities. As I mentioned, I'm using this every day, and I'm using it in replace. Shout out to Crown. He gave me the knowledge I needed in order to create this for myself, but I believe I have now created it better, at least to my own use case. So anyway, this innovative tool integrates multiple analytical frameworks, including several momentum oscillators, Fibonacci retracements, overbought, oversold indexes, volatility measurements, all into one comprehensive view in one single oscillator. So as one single oscillator here, I have also overlaid an ADX onto it, which is optional. You can turn this off if you want. I'll go over ADX later on. Right now we're just going to focus on the oscillator itself. So I also included a little label here that tells you at this price point your stochastics will cross up. So anyway, let's keep on going. I think that's it for this slide. There's a nice little introduction for you. So these are what the default settings are going to look like. You can optionally click to show ADX or not. You can optionally click to even filter out your signals even more by making sure that it agrees with the higher term trend. So how you would do this is you would click this check mark box. It would then turn on this filter to filter the color of the oscillator, so either green or red, buy and sell. In order for it to change to that color, in this example here, it would have to, price action would have to be above the 4-hour 30 EMA in order for that color change to occur on the oscillator. So that is ensuring that you are taking high probability trades by agreeing with the higher term time frame trend. And then lastly here, you can leave the stock standard 70-30 for your oscillator settings, overbought and oversold levels, or if you want to change it, like 80-20 is another common one. It'll filter out a little bit of noise, but also reduce your number of signals that you get each day. So let me just take me off real quick. I forgot to do that before I got started. That way you're not, that way you can see everything here. So yeah, 70-30 is the stock standard. If you go to 80-20, your win rate would go up, but your number of trades would go down. I mentioned that down here. This is the same thing. Your win rate should increase, but your trades will diminish per day. And then showing ADX is just optional. If we go back, are we able to go back here? Yeah, there we go. So ADX is this gray purple line. When it's purple, that means it's above a certain threshold and ADX is rising, which is pretty much just telling you the direction. ADX stands for average directional index. It just tells you that the direction is becoming more pronounced. It's becoming, it's increasing the average direction of it essentially. So it's a good tool to have on momentum volatility charts. So I overlaid it. Again, turn it off if you don't want to see it. It's totally up to personal preference. I personally like it because whenever generally I see ADX is rising, and it's agreeing with my overall trend, which I don't believe I have clicked on in this. So anyway, then as you can see, you can turn a scalping trade into a swing trade pretty easily in a lot of scenarios, especially on higher term time frames. Like over here, we get a nice cross up, probably right over there. And as you see, ADX is rising, price just keeps going up. So kind of same here, ADX is rising, price just keeps dumping down. So it's just telling you that the average directional index is increasing, and so it's a more powerful move is another way to interpret that. Let's see, moving on, this is, we just went over this, is sort of the only settings that you can change now, and it's mostly just to kind of filter out for noise if you would like to. but I've been using it as stock standard. If I'm looking at one time frame specifically, then I'll activate this to whatever time frame you want to look at. Follow the time frame relevancy video for a guide on what time frames to use and that sort of stuff. Anyway, lastly, these are just the color plots. Turn them off if you want to see fibs, change the colors around if you want to. These are all style preferences if you wish. So, all right, I believe that is it. Let's get actually onto the indicator itself now. So as I mentioned, this is what it'll look like. You can toggle this on, for example. So we're looking at the 5 minute. Let's go to like the 15 minute or something. Looks like my internet is going very slowly. Don't know why it is going this slow. Let's close out of trading view real quick and pull her back up. That was weird. So later on, I'll overlay this for you guys. Why is this not appearing all of a sudden? It's not a good look. There we go. For some reason, it was blinking out there. That hasn't happened to me before. But anyway, long story short. So let's get back to what we were doing. So we are currently showing ADX. We'll just take that off. We'll go over that later. Right now, I just want to go over the oscillator itself. So we're looking at the 15 minute. I would recommend bumping this up to the 4 hour to filter your trades. So let's kind of zoom out so we can see this. As you can see, with this clicked, we are only taking long trades. And with this clicked on, this now gets rid of these because this price action must be above our 4 hour 30 minute EMA. So with it off, it's going to tell you to enter short here. With it back on, it's going to get rid of these signals, kind of reducing some noise and making sure that you are trading with the higher term time frame trend. Also, you can change these around. Like I mentioned, you can do like 80-20. It's just going to reduce the number of, it's just going to reduce the number of your signals, but it's not going to, it's going to reduce the number of your signals, but it's also probably going to increase your win rate if you backtest it for yourself. It should. I like 70-30 personally for this use case. So really that's it. Lastly is the show ADX. So as I mentioned it, if ADX is rising, it just means that it's a more powerful of a move. And then generally, if I start to use ADX, like I'm turning a scalp trade into a swing trade, which I'll go over later, and then I see this first tick that is no longer rising, it changes from purple to gray, that's when I'll normally exit my trade, or at least look for a bounce back up, but before exiting the trade. But that's telling you that the average direction is slowing down essentially, and it's probably about time to get out of your swing trade. So that's why that is on there. As you can see, ADX is rising here. It kind of weans off here, but then starts back up again. It's not perfect. It's just telling you the average direction is increasing in the bias. Oh, I have way too many indicators up here. Way too many things to look at. All right. If you're interested, there's videos on just about all of these and how I use them, but today we are just looking at the VMI. So as you can see here, close above this price number in order for the VMI to cross back up, essentially, to go back to being bullish. Until this price is met, this is crossed down, and we're looking bearishly, as long as it agrees with your trend. So how I have this set up, essentially, is to filter out a lot of noise. So if the EMAs aren't agreeing, which I have it specifically as the 55 and 200, which wasn't on there. I have it set up to where in order for the color change to occur, there has to be a volatility metric, there has to be a momentum metric, and there has to be a trend metric altogether. So these, whenever they turn the specific color, normally are pretty damn good trades. It's over a 75% win rate on my back testing so far, especially with the trend portion of it in there. So as you can see, do I still have the so I still have the higher term time frame filter on there, which is good. I normally do because I want to be trading with the higher term time frame, but this is a pretty damn good signal. It's also agreeing with your long-term trend and getting you in a nice trade. Here's also a phenomenal trend. ADX is rising. Anyway, so that's essentially how you're going to use it. Now the background colors. The background colors are to identify another point of overbought and oversoldness. So I use these as generally take profit parameters, and also, and the colors, the lighter of the colors, the less opaque colors, are telling you it's above an overbought level. But as soon as you see these brighter ones, that's when they're saying we're at an extreme overbought or oversold level. And as you would expect, the colors do portray what it is. So this is overbought and this is oversold, green and red. And so over here, as we see, a lot of bright green colors telling you we are oversold, and we're looking to buy this oversoldness now. We're waiting for our green tick, and then we would enter here. And either wait for however you want to structure your strategy. I'll go over strategies in a completely different video, but this is just to kind of introduce you to each of the topics that we're looking at. So again, kind of here, we're seeing this bright green. We see a lot more green, about a bunch of oversoldness, and we are looking to buy oversoldness. So I put it as a green color because we're looking at this. We're waiting for a green tick here, or even here. All these long-term would have been good trades. As I mentioned, it's not perfect. Nothing ever is. But as you see, we get a nice trade here after this green background, and kind of just keeps going from there. So obviously, we're trading with the trend here. So let's just keep going over different examples. We get a nice green tick here after a bunch of green background, and it also agrees with our 4-hour trend. Our ADX is also rising at this point. So my thought process is, okay, let's turn this into a trend trade. How would I do that? I would use the other indicators that I built, dollar cost average, risk management, parameters, in order to scale out of a certain amount, let's say 40-50% of your position, into a level that would create a risk-free trade from you. So let's just put it as an example here. If you were managing your risk off of this low, somewhere right around there, and you entered into a position at this candle close when it turned green, ADX is rising, and it agrees with your higher term time frame trend. Let's say you close out of 50% of your position. Let's say you close out of half of your position at like 1.4, 1.5x. So you'd close out of your position here, half of it, and then you would then let your background colors potentially tell you when to trade or when to get out of your position, and all these sorts of things. Or you could use ADX too. So however you want to structure, there's a lot of ways to turn this from a scalp trade into a swing trade. And I'm going to mention a couple of things, but I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do that because there's about a dozen different ways to. You're going to have to use what is all here in order to do that. So ADX obviously is one. There's also the background colors. You can take profit when it's the opposite color of the trade that you are in. So that's why we are in green here, and we're going to be selling into the red background in multiple of these occasions. Exit a quarter, that sort of thing. And kind of get a little bit more out of your trade that you normally would. So yeah, I think that's the basis of this. That's pretty much it. I don't believe I have much else, except for I was just going to go over, yes, of course, this is a momentum volatility index. You always can trade divergence with momentum. So let's just go back to this and let's find something that's, obviously staring me in the face here. This is not color coded. That's fine. Okay, this is still just an oscillator. Okay, so what is this telling me here? Price is a lot lower here than it is here. This is a lot higher. This is telling you just relative strength, okay? That this could potentially be headed to change the trend, which it did in hindsight. But just typical ways of being able to use an oscillator and find when a move is true, as such as this. As you can see, price here is at this point, and comparing to this, price is at this point. This oscillator is less than this point, telling you that this is more true of a move. Okay, don't expect a huge just reversal bounce is what that would be telling you. So Also, you can use it for typical divergence plays. So let's find one that's maybe also agreeing with the trend. And I would like for it to be color coded as well, just to kind of show we have one here. Yeah, see, here's a good one. So as you can see here, our oscillator is higher here than it is here, but our price is a lot lower here compared to here. Okay, so you can use it just like RSI, just like stochastics, all sorts of things. It's just, I mean, it's not only agreeing with the oscillator, but it's also telling you there's divergence there, which is telling you likely going to be a larger move. There's also your ADX rising, all sorts of things here. So there's a lot to look at with this oscillator. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, of course. It's pretty much the same. It's just an advanced version of Stochastics RSI and a couple other indicators overlaid to let you know when momentum and volatility is kind of waning or it's gaining, and to be able to put yourself in a better trade position. Now, how I would recommend using this is just like with everything. So you can generate very good trade signals and strategies from this indicator alone. However, if you don't use proper risk management, any strategy you create, it could be a 99% win rate strategy, but if your one failed trade makes up for 50 of those, it's not going to be very profitable in the end. So how I would recommend using this is with the auto position sizing calculator that I've created. So you don't have to sit there and think about, there's another video on this if you haven't watched it yet, so you don't have to sit there and think about what position size you're going to be creating. I created a panel over here, and you can choose, between like lows and highs. You can choose EMAs, and it'll just automatically calculate your position size to that point on the chart. You can use Bollinger Bands, you can use volatility measurements like ATR, all sorts of things, and be able to generate a nice trading strategy so that you aren't over leveraging yourself by buying too many or selling too many contracts, and using the proper amount of size. You can also use, how I would also with this is using the dollar cost average entry, risk-free, and exit trading plan. Again, there's another video on how to use that. All of these are available on the website, but this will essentially scale you in between two price points that you specify, and it'll tell you when to scale out to be able to generate a swing trade out of a scalp trade and be able to generate a $0 risk trade by using this philosophy. So you can do this on all assets. Obviously, you can do it on a daily time frame. All sorts of things. Obviously, phenomenal signals when you're getting the green. It agrees with your higher term time frame trend. It agrees with your just longer trend in general. All of these bullish signals are just nutty. Like every single one is probably for NASDAQ 1,800 point. That's just awesome. You know what I mean? So, and it works very comfortably in all sorts of conditions. We can swap to different assets. Just kind of tell you, look at some of these Sol ones. Just anyway, so just kind of to show you that the last thing I wanted to do here is I got my motivation to create this from the Jewel Light indicator. I don't really like the background there, so I'm going to take that off. I just like the oscillator. But as you can see here, let's overlay them. How about that? That sounds like a good idea. Or you can kind of see the exact comparisons. I try to make it as similar to it as possible while also making it better, in my opinion. So you get a lot more signals with this indicator, which is good. It's a little less smoothed out, so it most of the time will either print on the same candle or the candle before it or the candle after it. So it's pretty much whenever it's all green, it's a green. But as you can see, it pretty much is mirroring it. It's giving some better signals, giving more signals. Like this wouldn't have been a signal on the Jewel, but it is on here. Just a phenomenal one. All of these two just nice and juicy winners. But also it's mostly the color coding difference there between the two. So I went ahead and added like as you can see, the green and red backgrounds to kind of tell you bias on buy and sell, overbought, oversold conditions, as well as really specifying that in order for these oscillator color changes to occur, they have to agree with the trend. And the longer term trend, of course, is optional if you don't want that on there. But I find it makes me trade less and make more. So that's why I put it in there, and that's why I use it. And then, having this here at a specific price point at which it will cross down at is significantly helpful. So, yeah, I believe that's it on this oscillator, and it's one of my best creations yet. That's for damn sure. Been using it to identify nice reversal points in markets, continuation signals, all sorts of different things. So check it out. It's available on my website at rylovquantitativestatistics.com. And yeah, I believe that's it. Have a great rest of your day. Hope you enjoy this.